the channel we watch, the MMA holes, they do a live play by play, very good commentary. So instead of
Okay.
watching the actual fights, usually I got something else going on anyway, multitasking. So we
Yeah.
listen to them because they do a really good play by play.
Nice.
So I didn't actually watch the fights myself, but
Okay.
judging from
Why
what
don't
I
you?
have heard from them and have seen, I think Pereira was off that night. I think
Okay.
something was going on. I've heard and seen things on X and other stuff that according to his coach and stuff I've seen, he was battling injuries and all kinds of stuff going into the fight. Regardless, it just wasn't him. But I don't know if it was because
Yeah.
it wasn't him because he actually had those things, or they're making excuses, or if Ankalaev just wasn't what he was expecting.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely. I mean, I was expecting a knockout from Pereira, and then we're just going to move on. I was kind of like not even interested in this fight. I did not expect anything out of Magomedov, and and then he just surprised, I think, everyone on the UFC universe except for obviously Vince, who seems like he knew what was going to happen. What did you pick anyone in that fight, or it sounds like you weren't too interested in this fight as well?
So the bets I placed, I had Ankalaev for the decision. So I won my bets I placed, but for my actual pick'em leagues, I picked Pereira by knockout before by round 3
Wow. Wow.
because my heart I wanted Pereira to win because
Of
I like
course.
Pereira. I like Chama. I'm a Chama guy, but I
Yeah.
just saw that I seen the upset, coming
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
to shock the world.
Stylistically,
And I don't know necessarily that was warranted. Um, I don't know all that. I don't know the way they've changed the scoring and the
Yes.
judges. The judges, you can't leave it in the judges' hands because you never know
No.
anymore. Because depending on the judge, some might score attempted takedowns and control more than they used to. And I feel like so many takedowns that Uncle Ab went for, but he didn't get them. So
Yes.
the defense, I think on defense, to me, defense scores a lot. I don't know. I saw a lot of hate for Pereira and saying that, well,
Yeah.
the Nina curse, like a lot of people are bringing up now,
Oh.
and that, well, he trained with Dylan Dennis, and that's what you get. Yeah, he did train with
Yes.
Dylan Dennis, but he also didn't get taken down. So him training with Dylan Dennis actually did work, but for the grand scheme of the whole fight, yeah, like I said, I haven't actually watched the fight, so without seeing
Yeah.
it's really hard for me to say who actually should have won that fight.
Yeah. 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 Well, I heard a lot. Well, obviously, the professor, he thought that it was judged well, right, Professor?
I thought he won. I thought it was a close fight. I don't think Alex did enough to win the fight. He was just doing calf kicks. He wasn't really using his boxing.
Yeah.
And the
I'm
clips
gonna
I
have to go
saw,
back. Oh, go ahead.
the clips I saw that it wasn't a typical fight. It's not like anything that just from the little clips I've seen. It's not like anything we've ever seen Alex do in the past. So I feel like he was definitely off of his game that night. Now, whether that was injuries or illness going into the fight, or Uncle Abe's game plan and his style just threw him off, I'm not sure. I don't necessarily think that an immediate rematch might be the best thing, but in the division, I don't know. I don't know who do you put next in the division. Who do you think that Uncle Abe should fight next?
Professor?
I think it should be Alex maybe in Abu Dhabi later because it's either him or Yuri. That's about it.
This,
Because Jamal Hill's fighting. He's fighting someone pretty soon. I don't remember who. He's got someone recent.
but I don't think you can put Magomed. You can't just skip over Alex if it's that close. And I don't think anybody wants to see Yuri. I think everyone's pretty much tired of that, and Dana White knows it. So he's a fan favorite, that's for sure. And it depends where you're fighting, but I don't want to see Yuri. I love the guy. I think he's super cool, but he's just not there. Maybe he needs to go up a weight class or something and fight
He might go
somebody else.
down. He might go down a weight class.
Really?
He was thinking about it.
Yeah, he has to get out of there, man. I'd rather see Jan than Yuri, to be honest. But
John has a
got a
fight
fight
coming up.
though.
Yeah, against
Yeah.
Carlos Alberg.
oh, see, that's good. But that's someone I want to see. You know, I want to see in this division. It's kind of like, do you want to see Magomed fight Yuri?
That's who Jamal Hill fights. He fights Roundtree next.
That should be a good fight.
Yeah, that's what he says.
I hope
And then I don't
Roundtree
think
wins because I think Jamal's a clown. I really do.
Well,
I think he's overrated. And I think he's a clown.
he kind of messed up with all the talk about, you know, with against Pereira, and he was a fan favorite, and now he looks like a clown. You're right, but he has a chance to win back the crowd if he can have a real good, solid, you know, just duke it out with Khalil. I think he can win the crowd back, you know, possibly get a fight of the night or something, but he has to do something like that if he wants to get back in the good graces, huh? I don't know.
Possibly. He's got to show something special, though.
Yeah, he's got to get some kind of like Rocky, you know, vibe about him. He's got to change the way that people are talking about him.
Narrative.
Exactly. And it's within his ability. He was knocking people out. He wasn't going the distance, but he was knocking people out. So I don't know. Once someone gets knocked out, they change. But what were you going to say?
I definitely think, though, that the talk about Alex moving up and fighting John Jones, I think we can just get rid of that thought now. And you know what? Jones needs to fight Aspinall. He needs to quit ducking him. He needs to quit running.
Absolutely.
I think that conversation has been settled.
Yes. I don't think anybody wants to see John. I think a lot of people want to see John Jones versus Pereira. But, I mean, Aspinall's the real fight. That's what is going to make him the greatest of all time or not, especially since Pereira lost, right?
Right.
What do you think, Professor?
He's not going to fight him. He's going to retire. He's just holding it off. I don't think he's going to fight him.
Since we're talking about Jones, though, what do you think about Mighty Mouse and the comments he said of a loss is a loss? Like, he broke the rules. He lost that fight against Matt Hamill. What do you guys think about that?
At the time it's a loss, and that happened like more than like 13, 14, 15 years ago. You can't.
Yeah, it did. But the fact that they've changed the rules now doesn't mean that you go back that long and say, oh, well, he didn't actually lose that fight because now it's legal. Back then it wasn't, so.
Yeah, you just got to leave it how it is. It is what it is.
Right.
That's interesting. Yeah, well, I mean, who's your greatest fighter of all time? Who's your GOAT? Mr. Monkey.
Man, it's just a hard one, right? Like, I'm on the fence. I like to say GSP, but at the same time, I don't like the way GSP just held everybody down and hugged them to the mat. Then there was career.
Yeah.
You know, that would not win you a fight now. But again, the rules have changed. The judging has changed. The scoring has changed. So it's really hard to compare one, now versus old school UFC days.
Yes. Yeah, when you're comparing them. I mean, because you could just say Royce Gracie's all-time great for what he did. You know, I mean, he brought the UFC into everybody's home and made well, he's not that small, but he looked small back in the day. He made small people look like they could take on anybody. That was, I don't know if you've seen the first one.
Yes. Yeah, and back then there were no weight classes. There were no time limits. It never went to a judge. Like, two guys were entered the cage, one guy walked out.
That's insane.
The fights he had against Ken Shamrock lasting, timing it out, where just insane. No time limits in the rounds, insane. Him fighting Chemo and literally ponytail out of his head.
Ooh,
that was savage. So Royce Gracie for sure.
Yeah, so there's a lot of people. You got Randy Couture, you got Anderson Silva. I mean, can you work yourself out of the GOAT? I suppose, because he lost those matches and fought too long. But it's kind of like Michael Jordan. He went to the Wizards and sucked it up, but he's still the best basketball player. So I don't know. Would you take Anderson Silva out of the talk for best of all time?
I put an asterisk next to Anderson Silva because of the failed drug test.
Oh, did he have failed drug tests?
Yes.
Yeah,
But at the same time,
after the
back
lightning
at
kick.
the beginning stages, there were no drug tests. So you don't know who coming up that did so great wasn't juiced or on something too. So, the fight he had with Chael Sonnen going into fifth round and Chael just dominating him and him getting that submission, that to me was like, this guy's amazing. Chael Sonnen pops after that, and then the rematch, Chael Sonnen loses, but then right after that, a few fights later, Anderson pops too. So it's like, was he juiced at the same time, just didn't get caught? But Chael did.
Yeah.
We'll never know. So there's always an asterisk to me for Anderson Silva, but even now, up in his upper years and his boxing, leaving the UFC, leaving MMA and boxing and being successful in boxing too, Anderson Silva, no matter how you want to cut it, he's a great athlete and just a phenomenal fighter.
Of course. But when you get to the GOAT, you have to start, being very picky and splitting hairs about like simple things like drug tests, like you said, and, George St. Pierre leaving for a while, and things like that. You got to start, being picky. So I don't know. Who would you put as who would you put it sounds like you're going between a couple of people. Who are you going between? There's a couple of them that you're thinking, it sounds like.
I would say Hoist because of the history and when he fought, there were no weight classes. So he'd fight guys over 2 or 3 times, his weight class, and he'd fight multiple times in a night to be the champ. So
that's true.
Just because of that and what he would have to go through to actually win, I would probably say Hoist.
Wow. And he won like the first 3 or something.
Yeah.
But what do you say, Mr. Professor? What's your take? Who's your GOAT? Do you struggle with that, or do you have a pick that you just kind of, that's it, it's done?
I got like a top 5, but it's kind of tough.
Look at that. Vince says
you got.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Because you got Mighty Mouse, you got John. Yeah. You got Silva, you have GSP. You could even say Fedor.
Ooh, yeah, Fedor.
You got who else was really good? Freaking
St. Pierre, right?
There's Khabib.
Khabib, yeah, that's right. People forget about Khabib. I don't really put Khabib even in that talk. Everybody puts Khabib as the possible GOAT. And, he's great, but you see who he fought. It's kind of not impressive.
And I feel like even now, if the way the rules have changed, Khabib was another GSP towards the end of his career where he just laid on top of everybody, controlled them on the ground, just smothered them. Like Vince G said here, said, Ken Shamrock laid on top of Hoist for 40 minutes. That's, it wasn't 40 minutes, but that's more or less the same thing that Khabib started doing at the end of his career too.
Yeah,
but 29-0, that's you can't knock that record.
But this goes to your credit. I mean, with Hoist, because think about that, a 40-minute match. I mean, even longer sometimes. It's like no one's leaving until someone wins. That's scary. Yeah,
and they were not in the same. They wouldn't have been in the same weight class. So now they wouldn't have fought each other.
And I guarantee you, Ken was on those Shamrocks were on steroids. I don't think they were doing much testing either.
No.
Yeah, so that's very brutal time. Who was the one guy with the beard that used to come in? He was like a bar brawler. What was his name?
Tank Abbott.
Tank Abbott. Yeah, Tank Abbott. Tank Abbott's the guy. He would fought for a while. I don't think he won much,
but no,
he was a fan favorite. He's kind of like a Butterbean or something,
Yeah,
but Yeah. One time at a bar in around town, Ken Shamrock showed up and started hitting on my friend's wife, girlfriend. He started hitting on my friend's girlfriend. And then my friend, he calls me up and he says, "Hey, do you know a guy named Ken Shamrock?" And I said, "Yeah, of course I do." And he's like, "He's hitting on my girlfriend. I think he's a UFC fighter. I don't care." And I was like, "Bro, you better relax and just get your girlfriend out of there, man." I can't help you. I can't help you with that. I'm gonna have to like bring like 30 guys, and he's still like, super strong, and that guy was a nut.
You should have told him you got to get a new girlfriend, bro.
Yeah, she's taken, bro. If she knows what's good for him, good for her. Oh, Boss Rutan. Yeah, he was a savage. I didn't see many of his fights, but I saw his, his kicking ability was, unmatched at the time. How about Mirko Cro Cop? Oh man,
just kicks.
Yeah,
some nice kicks.
And he was a Croatian special forces guy. That's insane. Oh, we got AJ Pham in the house. This is the ace. Who is the dork saying that could be? Well, if you want to talk crap, you come on the show. Don't tell me about it. You always want to criticize. Come on the show if you want to talk like that. It's like, I'm giving my opinion. Who is the dork saying that Khabib and GSP are the same? Khabib is trash. GSP was significantly better, versatile. He also had a really good resume. He actually defended his title more.
And GSP also lost to Matt Serra.
Matt Serra was really good at the time too. Yeah.
I was like, that was like the biggest upset ever.
That GSP Johnny Hendricks fight. Johnny Hendricks won that fight.
Ooh, I remember watching that fight. I watched that fight with AJ Pham, and everybody thought that Kendricks won that fight.
Yeah.
Shamrock has a screw loose, no doubt. Absolutely. Both Shamrocks. I think Frank. Yeah, Ken has a screw looser than a Frank. That's for sure.
Frank was definitely a little more straight edge than Ken.
Yeah. It was actually Frank Shamrock that my friend was calling me for. It wasn't Ken. Yeah. But anyways, let's see what else we got. Check out his old fights and Pancrasi. Dude is a straight killer. What's Pancrasi?
Boss. That's Boss Rutan.
But is that like a tournament or is?
It's just like the old organization.
Gotcha. Interesting. Yeah, that might be fun to see. And you know what? Boss Rutan has really made himself like it's kind of like Will Smith and the kids nowadays. They don't even know that he was a rapper. It's like Boss Rutan made himself like a face. People don't even know he was a fighter. The new people that watch UFC. But you think that's real? Dana cutting Bilal soon? No way.
No.
What do you know, Tyler? Tell us what you know, because I'd like to put some money on it.
I seen a post the other day, and it took all the current champions, and it showed all of the current champions right now. Between all of them, have one failed drug test.
Wow.
We don't want to point fingers, but it was Islam, and versus John Jones, who failed 4 times. And how many times did he hide underneath the ring? So, can you really call John Jones the pound-for-pound champ and the greatest of all time if you're going to hide under the ring when they come to drug test you and you failed 4 of them? I mean, that to me kind of throws a wrench in the pound-for-pound rankings if you want to put John Jones up there. But I don't think the UFC did him any favors with the last picture that he posted of him in the pound-for-pound rankings. When you get up close, you can see all the gray hairs in his beard and stuff.
Oh, yeah. But John Jones, he's been questioned. Yeah, you got to see Aspinall versus Jones. That's what everyone wants to see. I think if you did a poll, I think people would want Pereira and Jones, but the fight is really Aspinall and Jones.
I agree.
Yeah. So AJ says, this is not boxing, sir. What next? You're going to say Silva has too many losses, so he's out of the conversation. MMA is dangerous and can end quickly, which is the reason at the very top, you got to be picky. Yeah,
Right.
you got to be picky, because there's only one spot. They'll take LeBron or, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar out just because of like one little thing, So
I know that's the thing about MMA is that anybody can win on any night, but Silva versus Weidman twice.
Yes.
And I've called and I personally I will call those a fluke. Weidman got those, and what did he do after that? Not a whole lot. So you can't put Weidman up there, but he did beat Silva twice. So I don't know.
Exactly.
That kind of throws a spanner in the putting Silva up there for me. Plus the failed drug test.
Exactly. If John Jones wins his last fight against either Aspinall or Pereira, it's going to be very hard to argue with anybody. And with when you're comparing him to Anderson Silva, it's not even going to be comparable.
Nah, dude, he's not going to fight Pereira. It's either Aspinall or he retires.
But he doesn't want to fight Aspinall. You've heard him say he doesn't want to fight Aspinall.
Then he's going to retire. Dana's not going to give him a chance at a. If Alex would have won on Saturday, I could have seen them doing a champ versus champ, but he doesn't have the belt anymore. That's done.
Yeah, but hold on. You gotta say you could offer him 30 million, 50 million. I don't know how much money,
but you go.
Him, yeah.
Even Joe said, if you want me to fight Aspinall, you got to pay me FU money. No, you're the champ. You're supposed to fight. That's what champs do. They fight. Anybody, anytime, anywhere. And I understand training camps and injuries, but I don't know, the newer champs versus the beginning stages.
Yes.
Name one fighter now in the UFC that can fight 4 times in one night and come out ahead.
Yeah, that's
why Royce Gracie for me, I think it's probably still the top of the list.
I guess if we got to go back and look at who he actually fought, is it like legit? You remember the karate guy? He was just there, and the sumo guy that got kicked in the head. Because I'd like to see, but he did get some people there at the end, and just anybody fighting that long. Plus, you got to look overseas at some of those people like Rampage, who fought, in those tournaments.
Pride Days.
Yeah, those tournaments were brutal too. But let me get this guy. Let me get Tyler Cook because I want to see what he's saying. Well, look at this way. John arguably lost against Reyes, and I did think Gustafsson arguably. Anthony Smith DQ. I don't think he Hamill DQ. Now you got 4 L's, and people start looking at it differently. I guess there is an argument. I didn't really think of it that way. So, but. What do you think, Tyler? What's your Royce Gracie argument against him? Let me see what you say about that. Francis doesn't get enough credit for as one of the top fighters. Fair enough, but he's got to come back, right, guys?
He ain't never coming back.
He ain't never going to be the greatest then.
He's fine. He's fine boxing, making like 30, 40 million bucks a fight.
Yeah, that's true. Thug guy.
I think he's going to fight Wilder next. Wilder or someone else.
I mean, okay, Santa and the Sprinter are not really. You're right. You want to talk about steroids and performance-enhancing drugs? Okay, Barry Bonds. Mark McGuire.
Yeah.
You can talk about steroids and performance-enhancing drugs all day long. My personal opinion is, I want to see the best fight I can possibly see. So if both fighters that step into the cage are on performance-enhancing drugs or steroids or whatever, let them get in there, let them fight. Show me the best fight we can see. Show me the best possible athlete you can be, and then we'll determine who the best is. Either it's legal across the board or it's not.
Interesting.
Back there in that day, in that era, they weren't drug testing as bad. And if you really want to get technical, when the UFC first started, it was the Gracies that started the UFC. That's where it started. It was underground in Brazil, and it was the Gracies that started it. So, okay, that might put an asterisk or a stain on Royce's name, because it was his family. They're the ones that brought it up. But still, this 170, 185 pound guy fighting Kamala from the WWE, who was 400 plus pounds, beating his ass, and then fighting 3 other guys that same night and winning. There ain't another guy in the UFC right now. There ain't nobody in any ranking, any weight class that's going to fight 3 or 4 times, win all their fights, or take less damage than the other guys and come out on top. That's why if you want to have a tournament, have a tournament. But that tournament doesn't need to last the entire year. Let's do it right now. Let's do it one night. And the guy that comes out on top, that's the greatest fighter. That's the greatest person. But you can't do that because sanctions and the weight classes and sponsorship. And I can tell you though, the number one biggest thing right now is the judging. The judging is, they got to figure something out because it's not. Yeah, no. The judges
how would you fix it?
Are not right. And
How
that's
would you
the
fix
problem.
it?
Nobody knows how to fix it.
There's got to be some
simple
ideas
answer.
out
Then
there.
they would have came up with it already. And the eye poke, man, I was just glad to see that the last big fight, the main event didn't end in a freaking eye poke.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah,
but
Cejudo, and then the other guy. Just I've seen a story. I just seen a thing that came with it today or yesterday that in the last fight, I can't remember the guy's name, but claimed an eye poke. The ref didn't call it. Claimed another eye poke. The ref didn't call it. He went into emergency laser eye surgery because of that eye pokes that weren't called.
Oh yeah, who was the girl that just got poked not too long ago, and her eye was like really bad? I forget what it was, but there was a girl who got poked in the eye, and they had to end it. And it was a good fight up until that. I can't remember, but it just happened.
And they came out with these new gloves to prevent the eye pokes, but no, we're gonna get rid of those because Dana White didn't like them. Yeah. And now we have these eye pokes, and 2 main events in a row end early because of eye pokes, more or less.
So what do you think about that? Because kind of like in basketball nowadays, they sit. It's to have multiple fights in the same night. You could probably end your career with the guys that are so talented, as opposed to back then where they weren't so talented.
But if they're that talented, they should be able to fight multiple times.
But they're fighting like the best. Could you imagine, like, okay, you look at this, you go fight Pantoja fights Moreno, and then he fights Kai Kara France in the same night. You're talking about the people at the very top. It's they could barely go 5 rounds, let alone a fight to the death, as opposed to back then they were like fighting people out of a bar, like what's his name? Tank Abbott. I mean, I don't want to crap on their talent at the time, but
okay, so
it was different things. They didn't. Yeah, they figured out certain things.
It doesn't matter where you get your
appetite as long as you get home. Sorry, the wife giving.
No. My wife's about to kill me. If she steps in here right now, I'm ending the show.
I wasn't trying to get you to run the show longer. I just
no. This is the best show we've had in a long time. So yeah, but it says with the UFC overseeing and drug testing these days, I'm sure there are fighters taking PEDs. There's people taking PEDs
100%.
all over. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Kumala was awesome. What was
the WWE or way back then the WWF? Yes.
Yeah. All Dana wanted was Johns to match Francis, and Stipe and Gain wins to forget Francis. Like nobody notices how Dana literally doesn't care anymore. You think so, huh? All he cares about is slap. Nobody cares about slap.
I disagree with that.
Okay, what do you think?
And I will point to the Alex and Ankalaev fight this last weekend. If you look at it and you zoom in on the reaction, because before they announced the winner, Bruce Buffer goes over and shows Dana the fight cards, and you can see the look on Dana's face. He was not happy when he found out that Alex lost.
Wow. Yeah, no, I wouldn't be happy either. Everybody was looking that. I mean, it was like a foregone conclusion, right?
And I'm not saying that the Gracies started MMA. The Gracies started the UFC.
He's just trolling us. He's trolling us, man. He's likes to give a hard time, a little rib rouse or whatever you want to call it. That's
Yeah, the
AJ Fam
Fertitas
for
took
you.
over UFC from the Gracies and brought it
Yeah,
mainstream to where
we
it is
have to
now.
remember AJ
They didn't
Fam
start
is
MMA.
he's gay, so he likes to come over
Well, that
here, and he
explains a
hasn't
lot.
admitted it yet. So he's in the closet. He's in the closet, and he's got lots of anger. So whatever. I'm just messing with you, AJ. Fighters need to not extend your fingers at someone's face. That's something they do. They push them away, especially wrestlers.
Yes.
If you ever watch wrestling, that's what they do. Very common. So try getting them out of something they've been doing their whole high school and college career.
And I'm a
It's
huge
hard
fan
enough
of the Diaz brothers, but
Oh
that's
yeah,
what their biggest thing. That's the Stockton slap. But that's all the Stockton slap is the fingers extended with the palm.
yeah,
And it's been that way for
yeah,
years. But
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. The
But no, hey,
commission
I
will
just
not.
wanted to say I'm gonna let you go because I don't want your wife to kick your ass like mine's gonna do if I don't get off of here. So I just
Yes,
wanted to
sir,
say
brother.
the
Yeah.
MMA holes, that's where we got sent over from. And Goat Milk
Okay.
is their pick'em league.
Awesome.
So,
Yes, sir.
so when you said your percentages, we have a whole thing set up. Their Goat Milk is their pick'em league, and the percentages basically, you go through, you pick your fights before the fights go on, who's going to win, who's going to lose. You pick the round, the decision,
Okay.
how it's going to end, and you get more points
Yeah.
based on whatever. And so,
Oh, that's pretty cool.
yeah, that's where they were asking the percentage is from. They weren't trying to troll you. It wasn't no AI. But thank you for having me on.
No
Hope you all
problem.
have a good night. I have liked and subscribed. I got notifications turned on, so if I get
Thank
you
you,
guys
sir.
on, I
We're gonna-
definitely jump in and give you guys a shout out.
Absolutely, yes, sir. We're gonna have to get you on. I was 90% sure it was alluding to like semen or something. So, but thank you for clearing that up. All right,
Yeah.
my friend.
No, thank you guys for
Peace.
having me. Y'all have a good night.
Have a good
Thank
one.
you.
You too. So AJ Fam says the commission will not allow the MMA to work the way it did before. What do you think about that?
Oh yeah, they won't allow that.
What does that mean? What does that mean? I'm kind of lost on that one.
They won't approve it.
They want to approve what?
Have multiple fights in a
Oh, yeah,
in a
yeah,
night.
yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, it's kind of have to go to Japan or something for that. Now kids train MMA from young age. They were better than previous generation. I would Vince, I was just talking about this with AJ Fam because the wrestlers nowadays, the top wrestlers aren't going to MMA. And if they are, they're not doing as well as like the Dagestanis or something like that. What do you think the reason for that is? What do you think? So Tito Ortiz said he started UFC and made the gloves. Is that true? Tyler, I could tell Tyler's on this conspiracy. He's on that conspiracy side of UFC. I like that. He's bringing up things I ain't even thought of. He's bringing up the questions. What's the real deal? Did Tito? Now he's running for Congress or something, and I think he's married to the porn star. He's married to the porn star, right?
I don't know if they're still together. No, they were never married. Remember, Chael made a joke at the press conference that the only one
better.
Yeah. When they were at Bellator, he's like, "Oh, the only one that makes money using their mouth is your ex-wife," and then he's like, "Oh, we were never married." Punk.
That's an obvious one that he probably heard of like 5 million times. So Vince asked, "What's our names?" Well, this guy right here, Luca, is the professor, and I'm D the Killer. Yeah, so we go by nicknames. You call me D the Killer or D, and then the professor is the professor, obviously. But anyways, at Tyler, I saw that, and the UFC didn't give him any money. What's he referring to?
Oh, he's talking about the Tito Ortiz thing.
Oh, that sucks, dude. He would be super rich. I feel like that guy is almost broke. It seems to me. Him and what's his name with the mohawk? I can't remember. Freaking Chuck Liddell. Yeah. Yes, sir. Cheers. Now you can have your beer, Mr. Monkey. And then we got agreed. I think fighters are so well-rounded with their skill sets that the USA wrestlers doesn't give you an advantage anymore. And I was looking at the
Well,
USA
true.
wrestling.
It doesn't give you an advantage. Cejudo didn't do anything against Marab.
Yeah.
Which other wrestler did
Bo
garbage?
Nickel. Bo Nickel.
Bo Nickel. And then there was another wrestler that I was like, oh, that guy's going to take him down. It was a recent pay-per-view. I don't
Yeah.
remember which one it was, but it didn't do anything.
But
It
the thing I
was,
was I'll let you think of that. The thing I was thinking when I was watching the wrestling fight was, the wrestlers and the match at the meet is that you never want to be on your back in wrestling. But on UFC, you want to be on your back.
It was the Tatiana, it was the Suarez Wei Li fight where she tried like a million takedowns, and she's like a U.S. Olympic wrestler, and she couldn't do crap. And it's not like Wei Li is like a Olympic. She's just an athletic Asian chick who started fighting, and then like Tatiana, she's like, oh, I started wrestling when I was like 5 years old. That's like, they don't really help you that much out in the U.S.
Yeah, she looks super weak.
Yeah, I know DC has a hard-on for U.S. wrestling.
Of course, yeah, because he loves wrestling and stuff like that. But you saw Shell, even Shell didn't agree with them. They need to change it up and switch these guys over to UFC a little bit earlier. There's no money in wrestling.
Or they got to change their wrestling style,
you can't.
The Russians, or freaky look at Marab and all the other.
Yeah. Hold on real quick. It says they got rid of the gloves because the knockdowns or KOs numbers were down. Interesting. Yeah, so they wanted more knockouts, I guess. Oh, my best friend, my wife just said I got to take out the trash. Or she said she just texted trash. That's all she texted. So either I have to take out the trash or she's watching the live stream. I don't know which one.
Or she's saying you're trash.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Can you clarify, wife? But anyways, so it says the clothes. The clothes. What does that mean? What are you referring to when you say the clothes, Vince? The cloths. Fighters need to extend their fingers at someone's face. They need to train them at a younger age. He'll clarify. The gloves. Gloves. Okay. WW. Dana gave Chuck a $450,000 a year job with the UFC. Oh, props to Chuck. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, he did have the job, but then when the new owners bought him, they fired him. They fired, I think, someone else. The only one that kept their job was Forrest Griffin, because he actually did stuff around the UFC.
Yeah, Forrest Griffin. He's good for the UFC, but I don't know what Chuck can do. Right?
Well, no, Chuck was just there for just hooking them up, with the paycheck.
He is the face of the UFC, kind of, right?
Yeah, back in the early 2005,
our generation,
7,
right?
8, yeah.
Yeah. So Tyler says, Vince, I agree. Wei Li was too strong. Was way too strong. No, strong. I was glad to get underdog money on her. Wow. Yeah, I wish I would have seen that. I did not see that as clearly as you did. I mean, freak. I can't believe Wei Li was the underdog in that fight. It was pretty darn even. But let's see. It says Bo Nickel will never be champion, in my opinion. I got to be honest with you. There's nothing he's shown that shows that it's super impressive. And I want him to be number one. I'm going for Bo Nickel. I want a USA wrestler to be number one like it used to be.
Really?
I do. I like the USA wrestlers, when they learn if they can punch just a little bit more, but it's something about USA wrestling. It's like, You know, I want to root for that, but it's not something that it looks like it's going to happen soon. What do you guys think about Sean O'Malley? What's his next step?
I think he's gonna fight Murder. I think they're gonna give him the Marab rematch. Unfortunately,
Well, he's a huge fan favorite, so I mean, I think you got to give him Marab. You could, because didn't he say he was off, like he was sick or something like that?
I think he said he needed like hip surgery or shoulder. I think it was something to do with his hip
Yeah,
or something like that.
he probably said like he hurt himself or something.
Yeah, I think he
Yeah,
said going into the camp. That's why he
he
was
did.
like a little off.
He did look weak. You know, those camps are so long, and you try to protect yourself from anything happening to you, but I don't think you can. You know, it's too tough to like protect your fighters. People are falling now, kind of like they're falling in every other sport to injuries, except hockey. Hockey, those guys are invincible, but
Well, they
because
play with knives on their feet, dude.
yeah, yeah. But I think that there's got to be something that, you know, postcards, some destinations. Yeah, but any last words from anyone? Do we got any last words from the chat, or any last words from you, Mr. Professor? I think we said it all. We're gonna look forward. Any lock picks for this next UFC?
Well, tomorrow there's this Argentinian that's supposed to be really good. I think he's a minus 600 favorite. I think he's the main event of the prelims.
Okay, interesting. And you think he's got a good shot?
He's really young, and then he fought the Gene Silva guy, the dude that had that that highlight KO on Saturday. He fought him like a few years ago on the Contender Series, and they gave him a good fight.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay, so you'd put some money on that?
Uh you'd have to look for a parlay. It's just not really
Oh,
a
freak! We
card
got a
that
lot of
gets you excited because he's
yeah,
such a big favorite, like minus 600 or 700, maybe
yeah,
650.
yeah. So he asked, "What are your locks for tomorrow's event?" I think you just went over that. So what's your lock? I'll let you think about that for a second while I go through the comments. But I think overrated Bo Nickel. Yeah, everybody's thinking that. I mean, I'm hoping for it. I'm hoping he can do a little more. It was supposed to be gloves. College coaches, not teachers. Yeah, I agree. He quit to fight Tito a third time. Yeah, he shouldn't be fighting anymore. That's for sure. During his era, he was absolutely. I think he was the face of UFC when you saw him. You know, he was in movies. I remember he was in that movie with what's his name, where where they have a bodyguard for the kids. That's a hilarious movie. Anyways, Bo would get murked by Cosmot. What do you think about that?
So
Go ahead.
this is my it's a parlay.
Okay.
So it's Josiane Nunes, who it says she's about a minus 180. You
Okay.
parlay her with Kevin Vallejos. He's minus 650. And
Okay.
then other than that, I just don't like anyone else. You're not really gonna make money, but
Yeah. But you gotta bet something, you know.
yeah, it's just you got a minus 180 and a minus 650. Everyone else is just kind of eh.
Nothing on Marvin and Roman.
Well, Marvin won his last fight, but he's been very inactive. And then Deline's Day, he fought I think 3 times last year. I wouldn't mind. He's a underdog. You could add him for some value. I could see him winning, but it's not like a lock pick.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I think uh I think we kind of like lost
I think
reception.
they give Sean a title shot. Yeah, I think they do give Sean the title shot. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to make a lot more to make money. Yeah. My thing froze. I'm frozen. Freaking thing. Yeah. So I guess we'll call it a night with that. But we'll come back. We got another show coming up, and Vince G says I'm picking Roman. So, well, you can't go wrong. Might as well take the value, right?
Yeah. You sound like a bad dude.
Okay. All right. I'll let you talk
All right.
because I can hear you.
Yeah, I guess it would be the Nunez chick, the Vallejos, and then the Roman one. That would probably get you close to either even or pretty close to even if you parlay the three.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
I think you froze, dude. Let's just. When will it be on again? I would have to check and ask the the killer, but we'll let you guys go. It looks like his computer crashed, and until next time, thank you guys. Oh, you're back.
Yeah.
Man, so when do you think we're gonna do a stream again?
Oh, well, when do you want to do it, Professor? We'll have to do it.
I don't know. You could do
Obviously after the fight. We got to do it after the fight. But
yeah, it'd either have to be like Sunday or probably like Sunday or Monday.
So he's asking your name. He said, "Who is the man in the Mavs jersey?" Well, that's obviously that's Luka Doncic.
That's Fat Luka.
Yeah. Let's see. So when are we going to be going on again? Let's say Sunday. What do you think about Sunday? Probably
I
about
can do Sunday in
6 o'clock.
Yeah, that
6
sounds
o'clock
fine.
Pacific Standard Time. If you subscribe, you'll get the heads up, and then we'll bring you on the show and we'll talk about what happened this and look forward to the next UFC. We'll kind of go over that and see if any of our bets. I don't know if you guys do other sports, but we do. We do football, basketball, everything. But it seems like you guys are MMA holes. So let's see what happens. And until next time, my friends, thank you so much for showing up, and we'll go from there. All right, Professor.
Peace.
Peace.
That's the signal. Go, 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 go!